Baker, but please welcome to the stage right now, Mr. Ewan. Ooh!
Australians, I got a joke. What did the Australian chess player say to the waiter?
What?
Said, checkmate. And, Shaquille O'Neal's like the happiest man on earth, right? He's always so jolly, I think because he's never been messed with. Hey, how are you going to bully someone who's so tall his crotch is in your face, right? It's like, hey, Shaq, give me your lunch money. Never mind. Yeah, I was seeing these billboards all over Hollywood about this blind guy who climbed Mount Everest. Really inspiring, But I was thinking, well, how do you know he's on top of Mount Everest, For all he knows, he could have just been right over there at Mount Whitney. And I was thinking, that's actually a pretty good idea for a business idea, right? Taking blind mountain climbers up to the top of Mount Everest. And that whole thing about, like if you met a man in the woods, or if you were alone in the woods, would you rather meet a man or a bear, And women are choosing the bear, right? I was thinking, I think that's just a kind of ignorance on, like, bear knowledge, right? Because I met a bear in the woods once, and he fucked the shit out of me. Hey, a couple weeks ago, North Korea sent over 200 balloons over to South Korea. They were loaded, like, with garbage and excrement. But that statement's not exactly accurate, because they weren't packed with shitty trash. No, they were filled with Dane Cook's jokes. In retaliation to that, South Korea set up these loudspeakers and stuff, and they're like blasting like anti-communist propaganda and like K-pop, right, over in North Korea. And in retaliation to that, North Korea is setting up their own loudspeakers, but they don't have bands like BTS in North Korea, So they just blast like the most annoying sounds they could think of. Hey, you probably guessed it. Matt Rife's comedy special. There's a new disorder going around called Usher syndrome. Yeah, it's pretty serious, It makes you go blind and deaf. I always thought when you got Usher syndrome, it just made you go, yeah. Yeah, my little dog, she's real cute, She's so cute when other dogs see her, they go, oh my gosh, that dog is so cute. And then they go, oh my gosh, I can talk. Yeah, I was driving around the other day, I got pulled over by a horse cop. Yeah, it was crazy, I didn't even know it was behind me until I heard this, woo, woo. It wasn't a siren making that sound either, it was the horse. Yeah, I served the United States Army, 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood. It was pretty cool, It was weird being the only Asian person, though. Yeah, every day, people were just looking at me like, are we supposed to shoot this guy? Yeah, one of my buddies, he's a Muslim, right? So he doesn't eat pork, That's cool, but he's always trying to pork shame me and shit. He's like, oh, gross, you eat bacon and sausage? I'm like, man, I'm Korean, right? We eat dog, right? And scientists, for the first time this past year, they reported 2 male humpback whales having sex. Yeah. Hollywood's already going to make a movie about them. Yeah, they're going to call it Humpback Mountain. Yeah, it's weird how language changes over time, right? Like nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was going to blow my brains out, I wouldn't be sure whether to run away or pull my pants down. And the NFL has one nation player, and he's a kicker. Could you not find a more racist position for this guy? What, are you going to make him go out barefoot in a karate uniform? Yeah, I was watching this Bigfoot show the other day. It struck me as how dedicated these Bigfoot hunters were. And, they're so devoted to something that might not even be real. Like comedians in their careers. Yeah, the Army, it was pretty cool, You get a lot of benefits and stuff. I'd say the best benefit is the ability to give old men hard-ons. Yeah, old men, they love hearing Army stories. Like, I guess because it makes me feel younger, it gives me hope for the future or something, but like, if I meet some old man in a park and I start telling Army stories, they start coming all over me. All right, let me tell you a story. I'll tell you, whatever. I guess you probably guys haven't heard this one. This is the day I left for the Army, right? Anyway, my mom, she came home from work early that day, right? She'd never done this before. And so we go to lunch, and I'm so nervous, I can't eat anything. Anyway, we go home, and I'm waiting for my recruiter, right? And so I get my stuff ready. I'm waiting for a couple hours, And so I'm starting to think, what if he doesn't show up, right? But then exactly when the clock struck, right when he said he would be there, then I hear these footsteps, right? Like outside going up steps. And I know it's him, because he's walking like super slow, like not like a normal person. So I hear him walking up steps, and I hear him going up to the front door, and he knocks, right? It's like super slow, right? So I open the door, and it's my recruiter, And I'd seen him about 5 times before this point, but I never seen him in his full uniform and shit. He's got like all these medals and shit. I'm like, holy crap, this guy's like a fucking war hero, right? Anyway, I get my stuff, and I turn to my mom. And, Asian people, we're not like the most affectionate people in the world, right? So my mom's never really hugged me much or anything like that, right? So she's just kind of looking at me like, bye, son, right? I'm like, oh, okay. So I turn, I go with my recruiter, and I follow him down the stairs, and we get into his car. We back up, and just as we're about to pull out, my mom comes flying down the fucking stairs, right? And tears are fucking just streaming down her face, And she runs to the car, she jumps on the back of it and shit, right? And she's like, I love you, son, don't die, right? Come home and shit, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, mom, I love you, and I'll come home, don't worry, And I give her a great big hug and shit. And we pull out, I look back, and she's standing by the side of the road just bawling, like, right? And it's fucking crazy, Anyway, I call her about an hour later, right, because I'm all worried. And she's out partying with all her friends. Yeah, I was watching the Oscars this past season, and towards the end, I was getting excited, right? I was like, hey, look, they're bringing back the Mummy. But then I saw again, I was like, oh no, that's just Al Pacino. Yeah, I was talking to this guy the other day. He told me he's Persian. I was like, you're Persian? From Persia? He was like, yeah, where are you from? I was like, the Han Dynasty, I guess? Yeah, I had a real bad haircut like about a couple months ago, Oh, it was horrible. You ever have a haircut so bad that people start treating you differently? And they're like, this guy must have a learning disability or something. Your shit's fucked up when the waitress at Denny's tying a bib around your neck. Yeah, I was eating pizza the other day, but, eating pizza by yourself is kind of depressing, right? Yeah, it's like eating cake or getting drunk by yourself. Basically like my last birthday. Yeah, I've had sex with all types of women, like white, black, whatever, Asian, Mexican. In my opinion, Asian women give the best blowjobs. Yeah. If any of you ladies like to prove me wrong, you can meet me in the bathroom later. Yeah, as O.J. Simpson died a couple months back. It was pretty crazy, right? It was even crazier the way he crashed the internet. Yeah, basically the second he died, half of America got online and was like, who the fuck is O.J. Simpson? Yeah, it's past April 4th is a new national holiday. It's now National Burrito Day. It's pretty cool, And the very next day, April 5th, is now National Toilet Clogging Day. Yeah, you guys remember that boat that crashed in that bridge over Baltimore? Yeah, it crashed in the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's kind of ironic, right? It's like, oh, say, can you see? There's a giant fucking boat coming! Yeah, they said the boat came from Singapore. I was like, crap. Asian driver, Yeah, on the news they said the boat weighed like 200 million pounds. It's pretty damn heavy, right? It was actually even heavier before. It was actually 300 million pounds. But my ex-wife, she got off the boat right before it crashed, so. Yeah, like I said, I had sex with a black woman. It was just like a month ago, Yeah, about a month ago. It was cool, Aside from her skin color, she wasn't any different than any other woman I'd have sex with, The only difference I could truly say is the whole time I was fucking her, I was like, don't touch your hair, don't touch your hair. Yeah, Joe Biden, he's so fucking old, Whatever, he's so old, yeah. When he was a kid, Joe Biden's not even a boomer, he's older than a boomer. Yeah, those guys are called doomers. Yeah, Joe Biden's so old when he was a kid, it's a totally different age, right? As Ice Age. Yeah, Joe Biden, he's so old, like ghosts are scared of him. Alright, taking the piss when you have a hard on is really difficult, right? Like, if you're outside, it doesn't matter, But when you're aiming at a target as small as a toilet, I'm telling you, it's like playing skee-ball with your dick. Yeah, it's past Cinco de Mayo. It was really cool, Like, I had a good old time, Me, I got super drunk. And I was like, oh, it was Cinco de Mayo today? Alright, on this last joke. Hey, Comedians will always tell you two things, right? They'll always tell you when they just get booked on a show. And they'll always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so whoa! My name's Elon, I'm out here, thank you.
Alright. Thank you, buddy. Hell yeah.